A few months ago, I employed some people to be my friends and help me review films. Now we're like family, and what do families do? Well, they get together at Christmas. Via Zoom, obviously, that would be far too many households. Evening, First Minister. Merry Christmas. We watched Love Actually, and this is what we had to say. Love Actually follows the lives of 8 very different couples in dealing with their love lives in various loosely interrelated tales, all set during a frantic month before Christmas in London, England. It's our Christmas special, everybody! We've made it! We've made it! Oh, okay. Joining me this week, it's the whole 100 team. We've been reunited for Christmas. We've been reunited. So we are here to talk about a staple at this time of year, which is the film Love Actually. So we begin, as always, by asking whether this film was a Stirrat Special or you've seen it before, and what your first thoughts on Love Actually are. Let's start with Sasha.
Well, yes, I've seen it many, many times. And I love this movie. And I kind of watched it last night and noticed that there are some issues with it, but I think it's great. It's a good kind of Christmas feel. There's lots of love in there, lots of positivity, and I will watch it for years and years to come, depending on how much you guys destroy it in a minute.
Yes, who is the Grinch among us for this film for sure? Paul, I'm going to go on a limb here. I'm going to guess and say that this is not a Stirrat Special for you. Don't know why I'm thinking that, but I'm going to go on a limb and say that. Paul, what are your first thoughts on Love Actually?
Well, there, Craig, there you are betting against the house, because this is 100% genuine Stirrat Special. I have never seen this before. And I normally hate these kinds of, we'll throw in as many big names as possible for 2 seconds and see how it goes. But I actually rather enjoyed this for the most part. There was a few things that I thought were interesting, but yeah, for the most part, I'm going to say it was enjoyed. Maybe it's the festive spirit.
Yeah, pinch of salt sort of thing for sure. Andrew, how about you?
Very much a Stirrat Special for me as well. I wasn't optimistic going in watching this. I thought I was going to hate this film, but I thoroughly enjoyed this. I thought it was great. I think I've got that bit. I've got quite a few rom-com things like that where I'm like, oh, I'm going to hate this, and they end up being brilliant. So yeah, I thoroughly enjoyed this.
Cool. So far, so good, man. Joseph?
I had never seen this film before. It was a Stirrat Special for me as well. I was the same as Andrew. I went into this thinking, I'm going to hate this. And I came out of it nae hating it, but I didn't come out of it loving it.
Lovely.
It was interesting.
Fair enough. V, how about you?
So I'd seen this movie once before, a long time ago. And how do I say this concisely? Yeah, I hate this film. There's too many things that I just hate about it, so I'll just say I hate it.
Fair enough. I'm sure we'll get into those reasons later on for sure. Greg, how about you?
I believe this is the first time I've seen it all the way through. I've only ever seen this in like bits and bats, just like flicking through channels and such. So watching a full 2 hour and 15 minutes of this, I came away pleasantly ambivalent to the whole thing. Like, it happened. There was some nice moments. I think the first line of the film sums it all up pretty well, and it's Bill Nye being interviewed, and he's talking about his song. This is shit, isn't it? I'm like, yes. There we go. You put that first, yeah.
Merry Christmas, everybody. Merry Christmas. So, this Stirrat Special for me as well, for sure. I have been asked politely for a few Christmases now to watch this, but I have politely declined every year so far. But thanks to this show, hey, this show actually has been quite interesting because for this season, I think I'm half and half. I think I've seen half the films, hadn't seen half the films. So I've watched a few films that I never would have expected to ever watch. This is one of them, and I loved it. I actually really enjoyed this film. And I mean, I don't think it's Richard Curtis's best work. For me, that's About Time. Shout out to About Time, anyone. If anyone's seen that film, anyone who hasn't seen it, see it. Definitely Bill Nye's in that as well. He's absolutely outstanding in it. Domhnall Gleeson, McAdams, great film, absolutely great film. But you can, I do enjoy Richard Curtis's writing when it's at its best. And there was a few occasions in this film when it was really, really good. I had a few proper laugh-out-loud moments for me, for sure. I'll get to that a bit later on. But yeah, overall, pretty happy with it. I'm glad I watched it. I probably will watch it probably around this time of year. From now on, every Christmas. So, a bit different this week for this episode. As it's Christmas special, things are going to be a bit different this time. So, instead of breaking into the film in the usual way, I have randomly assigned each member of the panel one storyline from Love Actually. We're going to go around each one in turn. They've got to tell us about that storyline, what they liked, what they didn't like, and they've got to defend it as though it is the best storyline in the film. We'll then all vote, and we'll see who comes out on top. We're starting with Sasha for Daniel and Sam.
Okay, well, I think the main story is kind of about, they're one of the main stories, and I think they're awesome. David and Sam, there's Daniel is Sam's dad, his stepdad, and they've both just lost someone that they really love, a wife and a mother. And Daniel's kind of worried that this is affecting him way more than, well, I think it affects you very badly, but even more so because he's always like stuck in his room. And then it turns out Sam's actually just in agonizing love, and there's nothing worse than that, is there? So Daniel tries to help Sam get the girl of his dreams, who everyone worships because she's heaven. And I thought it was really cute. I loved how he is like, okay, we need Kate and we need Leo, and this is how we're going to sort this, or at least part of it. I think this brings like a stepfather, stepson relationship even closer, because obviously when the mom was there, it was probably more like she was the kind of glue that held them together, and I really liked that. And then because this whole story happens, Daniel ends up with Claudia Schiffer. Sam finds out that he's an absolutely amazing drummer because he only learns it in 2 weeks. And we get a lovely airport chase scene at the end where he tells a girl that he's never spoken to that he loves her, even though we don't actually see that happening. So I think that what more would you want from a film or characters?
Better airport security.
I wrote down she's going to miss her flight when she came back.
Right.
Yeah. Anyone got a rebuttal to that? To what Sasha has said? What are people's thoughts on the Daniel and Sam storyline?
Yeah, let's crush this little child's visions of love.
Yeah, I've got a couple of things to say. Daniel's played by Liam Neeson, and given Liam Neeson's track record with dealing with like young children around about the age of 11, the last time he had to deal with a young child around about the age of 11 in a film, that child ended up to be Darth Vader. So I don't think, I really don't think that, it's a good relationship, because let's face it, at the end of the day, he's going to start drumming. Next thing you know, drumming leads to fear, and it leads to hate, and then it leads to suffering, and next thing you know, you've got another Darth Vader who still looks well.
Oh no!
That's my.
I don't think Liam Neeson has power over that. That's just sort of thing that happens to him.
I think this probably, of all the stories, one of the most sickly sweet. So I really enjoyed that. I mean, I did write down towards the end, the security's thinking that child's got a bomb or something, because he is sprinting all the way through there. So I don't know.
No, he's got love. It's just love.
Yeah, but in a post 9/11 world, that kid had been tased before he even got to the floor.
We also should enter that kid into the Olympics representing Team GB by the speed of him. Seeing as
That was my biggest issue. Speaking as a short person, there is no way he outsprinted those people. He does not have the leg length for that shit.
Power of love.
He had a good head start. And adrenaline, it gets you everywhere. He's sound.
Also, that actor is the living embodiment of Dorian Gray, by the way. He's made some kind of deal with the devil, that man, because that guy's now, I think, late 20s.
No,
and
he's
he still looks like a teenager. It is ridiculous. He definitely is aging at half speed for sure.
Yeah.
It's mental how old he was in this film. I'm not going to say anything in case it's one of Joseph's fun facts for his game, so I'm just going to hold off, but we'll wait and see. So let's move on to our wonderful Prime Minister. Not Paul, but Paul's going to be talking about this. So David and Natalie. Over to you, Paul.
Well, so what can we say about David and Natalie? David has just basically moved in to number 10 Downing Street. He gets in, he's being introduced to his staff, says hello and locks eyes with Natalie, tells one of his staff that his uncle had like the same name as him and they thought he was a pervert. So we're off to a great start with the staff. And then he locks eyes with Natalie and, you know, straight away it's like shy, bumbling Hugh Grant love at first sight. It's just, we really, really have quite a connection, don't we? It's just terrible. We're so both awfully shy, aren't we? It's terrible. But they keep talking like that and they keep having these little interactions. You know, she brings him chocolate biscuits instead of just regular digestives. She comes in the meeting. She is dishing out all the tea. Then the President of the United States comes over and he's still going too shy to really say anything. It's played by Billy Bob Thornton, be a kick-ass president, I'm sure. And then they go in to have these private talks. He's already said that he quite likes the look of Natalie, and he nips out 2 seconds and then comes back in. Now, I went back and looked at what actually happens, and I went freeze-framed it, and I kept pressing pause and play. Now, it looks like Billy Bob has his hand on her head like this and is leaning in like that as if he's whispering something, because you can't see because she's just sort of here. So it's really, I think we can assume what he was doing, but I don't really know.
Nothing.
I'm going to say, yeah. So once that happens, Hugh Grant is in like, okay, well, it's like war between UK and the US. He gives a speech that I'm like, why can't we have any prime minister give a speech like that? You know, he was some charismatic speech stuff there. Then he dances to Jump in the hall, and as we all know, was my favorite part of the whole film. Just the way he wiggled his hips there was hypnotic. And then finally he says, we need to redistribute Natalie because he's so enamored with her. He can't, and he's hurt. He's hurt. He wasn't sure if it was Natalie going after the president or what. He's hurt. He doesn't know, so he can't concentrate. So he has her working somewhere else. And then eventually he tracks down. He goes door to door to try and find her because he can't take it anymore. And they go to the school play together, and he gets immediately caught in a scandal by snogging her in front of the stage, in front of everyone. And then he doesn't miss a beat. He says, "Okay, well, we just take a bow," in classic Hugh Grant fashion. So, what am I going to say about this storyline? Well, I'm going to say it's the main storyline. I'm going to defend that because he's the one that speaks the monologue at the start about love. I'm positive anyway. And then
good argument, mate.
I'm pretty sure.
I think it's
definitely Hugh Grant's voice.
It must be him.
It must be him. And so this guy is like a lovesick puppy. It just so happens that he's the Prime Minister. But that's not the part to focus on. He's a lovesick puppy. And sure, he sends a woman who's not really done anything wrong away, but it's because he can't concentrate on what he's doing. And there's actually something alluding to that later on, because he does say at one point, he's like, I'm sorry for all the terrible decisions. My cabinet's crap, to one of the staff and one of the people he meets door to door. So I'm going to say this is the best storyline because love conquered all in the end.
Thank you, Paul. I detest this storyline. Just
Yeah.
out there right away. I absolutely hated it, and the reason for this is very simple. As a working class, from a working class background myself, I found it rather offensive from the stereotypes of the packed family in the house for one. The second thing was it was just a case of it was very much Marty McCutcheon's character was very much like he couldn't possibly be in love with me. I'm not a working class lass, So I took a bit of issue with that. However, what in Paul's defence here, my biggest laugh came from that storyline, and it was when they were in the taxi. Classic Richard Curtis stuff. They were in the taxi, and then there's just a wee kid in the Oxford outfit sitting between them, and it's really awkward. I was beside myself. That was definitely my biggest laugh, and I was just thinking that's absolute genius comedy writing. Classic Richard Curtis, absolutely loved it. And also my favourite line I think in the whole film was, "I'm trying to get round to everyone by New Year's." And standard Hugh Grant line, absolutely loved it. So yeah, didn't like the storyline, but it did have my biggest laugh for sure. What did everyone else think about that storyline?
I hated it. I hated the film in general, but his character is the biggest arsehole of them all, right? It's just the fact that you mentioned it, yourself, Paul, he sent her away, so basically she got blamed for being sexually harassed. There's no defending that.
Out of love, V.
And she apologizes in a letter, and it's only then he's like, "Oh, I'm going to go find her," and and even then he doesn't really apologize. When she says, "Oh, he just came at me, and I didn't know what to do. Nothing happened," and he's like, like he doesn't even say anything, and why do they keep fat shaming her in this as well?
He's the only one who sees her for who she truly is, because everybody else at the office refers to her as the chubby one. And he is in fact very noble for not referring to her as the chubby one. And then when they have the biscuits at the end, it comes full circle.
He's the only one that comes to her defense. It's true love.
It was the line our dad said, like, see, obviously you get the wee digs like through the workplace, they're their workplace, but that called her plumpy, and I'm like, why is this a thing?
That's the only part of like the storyline I will defend, because that is accurate family dialogue.
Yeah,
but the rest of that storyline,
it still didn't make sense.
It didn't make sense.
I didn't like when he was like, "Oh, who'd you have to shag around here to get a biscuit or a cup of tea or whatever?" Something like that. And I was like, and she comes in, and I was like, "Oh man, you're supposed to be this really cool prime minister, and you just lost me." Absolutely.
I would say it's a very apt depiction of a politician, though. To be fair, I can see that being said.
No, because they were both presented as likable human beings. Are we just glossing over the fact that all it took for a British Prime Minister to stand up to an American president was for him to sexually harass the wrong woman?
I will point out that he did also have one of the best lines, and he sits down, and it is just after he basically says he's going to redistribute Natalie. Redistribute.
There we go. Right.
And then he just goes, I bet you never had these problems, you saucy minx. And it's just a close up on Margaret Thatcher.
Oh, I hated that bit.
Oh no.
And that's why that story is an immediate worst for me, just because it had a full 3 seconds of Margaret Thatcher's face on screen, despite oil painting.
Does anyone think this might have been based on David Cameron at all? I know it was a little bit before his time, but...
Well, no, because there wasn't a pig inside.
I literally stole
It was, no, I think it was based on sort of like the relationship between Think
Merry Christmas.
like the UK and the president at the time and David Cameron did put a statement out about it, being like it was a really jolly good speech he did, but what Hugh Grant didn't think about was what happens tomorrow after that speech, that sort of thing. A very political answer.
Yeah.
Do you reckon?
It was supposed to be an idyllic, yeah. What might have been if Tony Blair had stuck to George W. Bush, but yeah.
If it was supposed to be an idyllic portrayal of government, they would have hired someone who could spell Christmas properly. Because in a little card it says Chismas, not Christmas.
So if your eye for
Not a working class girl, Jordan. Her state school education couldn't possibly provide it to good teachers, you know. Oh God.
Yeah, because they're slashing funding to education for you. Sorry.
Right, let's put the shovels down. Let's stop digging this hole.
Oh no! I've got so many shovels, Joseph. Jesus.
So
Last one. Do you reckon Prime Minister Hugh Grant is how Boris sees himself in his own head, like this bumbling, charming womanizer, minus everything you saw?
that depends. Do you think he's dancing to Jump in number 10?
I mean, I'll happily watch him fall down the stairs, but like,
I think he's more of a Jackson 5 sort of guy.
yeah.
Like, to defend Paul's storyline, I would gladly watch sort of a BBC length series of Hugh Grant being Prime Minister, because he was bumbly enough to make it funny. But there's a little bit of resentment for him that everyone has. I want to keep watching it, but like, I just want to see Malcolm Tucker tear into him. That's all I want to see.
Yes, shy Prime Minister. Something like that.
Right.
But
Shall we play our first game? Okay, let's move on. So let's play our first game. So over to Joseph, the master of deception, for fun fact or fake news.
Right, so this is fun fact or fake news, Love Actually edition. We've got 3 questions here. They're all multiple choice, and you have got to choose which is the truth amongst the lies. So, are you all ready for your first question? Cracking.
Yeah.
And those of you at home can answer as well and keep score. So, your first question is as follows. In 2003's Love Actually, we see Prime Minister Hugh Grant play opposite Billy Bob Thornton's President of the United States. But what unusual fear of Thornton's did Grant exploit to cause Billy Bob to freak out just before cameras started rolling? Was Billy Bob Thornton's fear A, a fear of tinsel and baubles? Was it B, a fear of antique furniture? Or was it C, a fear of hard-boiled eggs?
I know the answer, so I'm going to stay quiet until everyone else has answered.
I'm going to wait.
I'm going to say hard-boiled egg, because you'd have to be mad teeth.
I think it's hard-boiled egg as well, but I just think Hugh Grant's the kind of person that would carry around antique furniture, so I'm going to go B.
Hey, B from Andrew, C from Paul. Sasha, Vanessa, Greg, what are you all thinking?
Tinsel.
I'll split the difference and say tinsel.
Tinsel.
Yeah, I'll go. Yeah, tinsel.
Tinsel, okay.
I'm gonna help Joseph reveal this. It's antique furniture.
It is antique furniture. So
He's sitting on.
So Andrew and Craig get the points for this round. The answer was B, antique furniture. In an interview with Entertainment Weekly, Martine McCutcheon, who played Natalie, said Hugh had a really naughty sense of humour while on set. Billy Bob Thornton hates antiques, and just before cameras would roll, Hugh would constantly point at pieces of furniture saying, "Oh, that's 500 years old, that." And Billy Bob would say, "Oh my God, Hugh, I don't like this," in his southern accent. So Andrew and Craig get the points, and commiserations to the rest of you. But you can get points on our second question. Mentioned previously, Claudia Fischer, famed German model, actress, and fashion designer, appears at the end of the film as Carol, infatuating Daniel, played by Liam Neeson. However, for her 1-minute cameo in the film, how much was Schiffer paid? Was it A, £200,000, the equivalent of £328,000 today? Is
That's depressing.
2% of the box office profits, or C, nothing, as she had an infatuation with Liam Neeson at the time, saying, quote, "I was willing to do it for free after 21 takes of Neeson making lovey-dovey eyes at me."
C. This is a film about love. It's C.
It has to be C.
Because this is all about money in the end.
If it was any other person asking this question, I would say C. But Joseph is clever enough to come up with this fake story. It's B.
Yeah.
B, okay.
I agree with Andrew because I know there's another fact about this film that is very close to what Joseph has said for C. So I imagine that's where Joseph got the idea from. But I'm saying that it's not C. I'm gonna go A.
Okay.
I'm gonna go A.
Okay.
I'll go B.
B. So
No, A.
final answer?
Final answer.
Final answer. The answer was, in fact, A. She made £200,000 for a 1-minute cameo. But during Daniel's eulogy, he says one of his late wife's requests was to bring Claudia Schiffer as his date to the funeral. Funny how things work out in the end. But as Craig did say, it was in fact Chris Marshall, who played Colin, that returned his paycheck after 21 takes of being undressed by American women. And I'll let that silence hang, just to show how weird that scene is. But I hope you're all keeping track of your points, because we're going into the final question here. So, Love Actually, what do we think of when we think of Love Actually? We think of that romantic scene between Keira Knightley and Andrew Lincoln. What a romantic scene, eh? But during Peter and Juliet's wedding, Mark surprises the happy couple with a band performing the 1967 hit All You Need Is Love by the Beatles. But what inspired writer and director Richard Curtis to add it into the film? Was it A, it happened at a funeral he was at once? B, he was inspired by 2001's Moulin Rouge love medley? Or C, it appeared to him in a dream?
B, Moulin Rouge. I see the low-hanging fruit and I reach for it. There it is.
All saying B.
I'll go A.
Andrew thinks it was a funeral.
Yeah.
I think A sounds very Richard Curtis, but then again, Joseph's clever and he could be using the 4 weddings and a funeral thing to get you, possibly. But I don't think it's the other one, so I'm going to stick with A.
Okay, Gracie. Okay.
I'll say it was a dream.
Sasha's going with the dream.
I'm going to say it's a dream because he could have probably thought of this whole movie in a dream because it's that bad. So I'm going to say C, it's a dream.
Nightmare for you.
I'm throwing shade at the same time. I can respect that. Greg?
I will go A because I forgot the other two.
That's how I choose all multiple choices. And for all of you who chose B, Paul, you were wrong. I'm sorry, Paul. No points this game, unfortunately. It was, in fact, A. It was a funeral that inspired Richard Curtis to include this medley in the film. But for a bonus point, can anyone tell me whose funeral it was?
I nearly said something really stupid. I was going to say Princess Diana. It's the first English person I could think of. Well, she was part of that crew.
I'm going to go with that. I'm going to say
A couple of Princess Dianas in there. Any other guesses as to whose funeral it could have been?
Is it someone like really famous? Someone
very famous.
I'd say it's one of the Beatles.
One of the Beatles.
That one. Shout. Very good shout.
Was it the death of good taste?
That must be George Harrison?
Yeah.
That is my guess as well.
George Harrison. Okay. Any other guesses as to whose funeral it could be?
John Lennon.
John Lennon. In fact, unfortunately, you're all wrong. It was, in fact, Jim Henson's funeral, where...
Oh, I did know that.
All you need is love to honour Jim Henson and his work. So that is it for Fun Fact or Fake News. Hope you guys enjoyed. I believe Andrew, did you win that one? You had 3 points, didn't you?
No, I had two. Craig had two.
I was keeping track in the wrong head. So, Craig, our host, wins a fun fact of fake news. Well, let us know how you got on at home.
Right.
That's on Twitter or on Facebook, and tell us how much you scored in this round of fun fact or fake news. Back to you, Craig.
Thanks, Joseph. Thanks. I finally sussed you out. I finally got you after all this time. It's taken a few episodes, but I finally got you. So, we're going to take a quick break. That's it for part one. Join us for part two, where we talk more about Love Actually and find out who has the best storyline. See you soon. Welcome back to our Christmas special, part two of our Love Actually discussion. So, over to Andrew next for Billy Mack and Joe.
So, Billy Mack and Joe. It's probably the simplest storyline. And I'm going to tell you why it's the best storyline. So we follow Billy Mack, who is an old singer who's now trying to rekindle his career by going for the Christmas #1. However, he is not passionate about the song. He's very honest and brutal about the song. He's only doing this for one reason, is to relaunch his career. And he admits his song is shit. Joe is his wee pal. And we follow Joe and we follow Billy Mack to eventually getting his #1 hit at Christmas. Now, very simple, very quick. That's all it's about, but I'm going to give you 3 reasons why this is the best storyline. #1, does any other storyline have Rabsy Nesbitt in it?
Andrew wins.
That's a point.
Case shut.
#2, what is the best kind of romance?
That's a bro.
A bromance! Exactly, Sasha! A bromance! Romance is the best kind of romance. And #3, there's no lies, no deceit, no betrayal. They are just good mates, and they are even better mates by the end of the story when they're sitting on Christmas Day watching porn together. I rest my case.
I mean, before this started, that's my pick as well. I mean, I know we're not voting yet, but that was my favourite storyline as well, for sure. Yeah, it's really good. I mean, I smile every time Bill Nye's on the screen. Every time. I can't explain that man. I really can't. But like, he's one of those people who he's just perfect. Like he delivers a line, and it's just that's it. You've nailed it. Every single time.
He also had the best line in the movie, in my opinion, when I think it was when he was on Ant and Dec, and he looks down the camera and he says, "Kids, don't buy drugs. Become a pop star, and people give you them for free."
That's my favourite line.
That was the life lesson at the end of this episode, Andrew. Come on, man.
Sorry, I had to tell you, but I need to defend my storyline.
We're never going to get sponsored by Big Pharma now. Jesus.
Oh
my
God.
God.
What about everyone else? Did anyone have any rebuttals to Andrew, or we all agreed that could be the best one?
No, I'm just furious that I didn't get to do that one. But
I'll also put in as well is obviously we get the small cameo from Rowan Atkinson, who is probably one of the best like physical actors for comedy, like his facial expression. But see the scene where Bill Nye's ripping into his song at the radio station and it keeps cutting to Joe out, and see the facial expressions Joe was pulling. I was wetting myself because obviously I couldn't speak to him, but see some of the faces he was pulling. I thought it was brilliant.
he doesn't have that many lines, Joe, throughout. Like, it's the longest they chat is at the very end. It's
He doesn't need
the
it.
best kind of relationships where you barely have to talk to each other. Don't quote me on that.
I've got to disagree with Andrew on the sole fact that it's that storyline that made me realise that I finally realised in 2020 that Ant and Dec are not brothers.
You're going against my storyline
because of Ant and Dec. Yeah. Andrew, it's because of you that Biker Grove lied to me. You're the sole culprit.
I mean, I don't know how this film gave it away.
I've never seen the name written down before.
What?
I watched that. It's the only film I've watched the credits when we've been watching, and it was Ant and Dec, and I noticed that their names were different, and I had an existential crisis.
I take it you've never watched that in the
Joseph,
19th
Are you serious?
Yes, I'm serious.
Joseph, real talk right now. How old are you?
I'm
Sorry,
20.
genuine question. How old are you?
I've got a mental age of 7, and an actual age of 24 and a half.
Right. Yes. Yeah. I presumed you were the baby of the group. Yes, I do.
I'm the baby of the group, yes.
That is still rather impressive. 24 years at indefinite. Wow. That's
Never mind that. After the year we've all had, that was the thing that gave you an existential crisis.
No, it was like the next year of crisis.
That's ruined 2020 completely for you now.
Yeah, I've been having a great year up until Andrew pulled the curtain away and revealed that Ant and Dec are made brothers.
I would like to point out the only person that's had an argument has been Joseph, and you all took more issue with Joseph's argument than with my storyline. Again, I think I'm pulling away, guys.
Yeah. He makes a good point. Right then, well, we've got to give him a chance now. We've got him a chance. So Joseph, it's over to you for Jamie and here we go. Aurelia? Yeah, is that her name? Aurelia?
Jamie and Aurelia.
Thank you.
What's great about this storyline? The easier question is, what's bad about the storyline? And I can really answer that with one thing. Nothing. Perfect. This storyline is like that first sip of beer at the end of a long day. This storyline is... It's basically everything Moulin Rouge wanted to be. A struggling writer, romance, betrayal. I mean, they just did it better. 2 years later, they did it better. And quite frankly, I think it's one of the best storylines because you just really get to the emotional depths of Jamie's character, finding out that your wife or girlfriend or whatever is cheating on you with your brother. So then what do? You go to France and you write and you pour your heart and soul into it, and then you get the housekeeper who doesn't understand a word you say and you don't understand a word you say, but then there's this connection, this raw connection that there's these glances, I assume, because it wasn't shown in the film, across the table, or there was like these moments where she'd pick up a glass and he was trying to pick it up and their hands would brush all lovey-dovey and all that, which we did see when he was searching for his phone. It's these moments that show that it's true love there, not Hugh Grant and his political poncery. It's these moments here that his true love is shown. And then, of course, what did he do? Christmas Eve, he buys a ticket to go back to France. That's not cheap, I'll tell you that, ladies and gentlemen, for free. That is not cheap. He goes to France, he finds her, and he proposes to her in front of her work. And you know why? You know it's true love? Because she lets him propose in the middle of her work. Because any person who wasn't in love wouldn't be caught dead in that scenario. They would have died of shame there on the spot. Ergo, Love Actually is Jamie and Aurelia's story. I rest my case.
Yeah. Love is the universal language. Yes, Joseph, yes. One of my notes was, why didn't you just pick up a phrase book? Was one of my notes for when it was, when he was first there, for sure. Like,
because he's too awkward. He's Colin Firth. He's too awkward to hold a book and talk at the same time.
I will also say that another reason why this is the best storyline is because it was the one that Richard Curtis originally had in his head for the film.
Ah,
so it's the original storyline, ergo the best.
What I will say,
Star Wars movie, but it doesn't mean it's the best.
What I will say is that it was replaced as the main storyline as the Hugh Grant one. And Hugh Grant and Colin Firth are competing in this to see who can be the most awkwardly shy Englishman. You know, and you've got the bit where she comes along and lifts the teacup and all the papers float into the water. And he's like, should I get on?
Yeah.
It's the most awkward and English that Colin Firth is in the whole film, but it doesn't come close to the awkward and shy Englishman that is Hugh Grant. I put it to you, sir.
Oh, they're competing for being the most creepy man in their 40s going after women in their 20s.
Yep.
Are their
Yes.
ages ever confirmed?
Who are
What- what-
subordinates who work for them and are basically doing sexual harassment at the workplace.
Joseph,
One
you
of-
started arguing against your own case when you talked about how expensive it is for him to buy another ticket to France. I will not have sympathy for a man that can, after a breakup, afford to go to France for his little housemaid and woo her. And he didn't even woo her, he offered her a croissant.
But croissants are the universal symbol for love, Andrew.
That's not true.
When-
Quiche
when-
is the symbol of love.
No,
Hey, where are you from? Get out!
You didn't watch A View to a Kill. James Bond wooed that woman with a quiche.
well, Andrew, I'll just say you'll be feeling very silly come Valentine's Day when you walk out finally after COVID is gone and you see just rows and rows of croissants lining the streets as the universal symbol for love, my friend.
I'm single. I'll be in the house crying.
I'll send you a
Croissant
croissant.
crumbs.
Uh,
Wouldn't it have been funny if he flew out there and he got the whole town to follow him to her new place of work, and he gets out into the bar and he lays out that speech, and it turns out all that time learning Portuguese was for nothing because she's actually Greek. Good
Yeah.
Or
result.
that the whole family thought she was going to get sold to him.
or killed. That was another classic Richard Curtis. That was another great Richard Curtis moment again, writing wise, was when the Chinese whispers along the way, like he's going to kill her. Really cool. Love that. Love that.
The one thing I'll give to Joseph, I did laugh when he turned up at the door and it was the sister, and she's like, "Oh, you're really going to sell me?" And he's like, "No, I'd pay for him to take you away." That didn't.
I also think it'd
also-
be quite funny if he found out the actual tattoo that she had on her back was fake, because we all know that's the real reason that he fell in love with her. Because that was the bit when she took all her clothes off, and it was that moment where he saw that little nice stamp on her back, and he was like,
You'll do.
me.
I will say,
Exactly.
when I was doing
In
research
France.
when I was doing research for my game, I did find out that there was a 45-minute meeting to determine the colour and style of Aurelia's underwear in that scene, which I think is 45 minutes too long.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, you mentioned the age appropriateness of all the relationships. I noted down. I don't know. There's barely any age appropriate relationship in this film. If any, in fact, if you really look at all the actors and how old they actually are, it's not.
Did anybody-
Barely any.
Did
But
anybody
do the
else?
characters. Sorry, go on.
No, you go.
No, just wondering, like, were any of the ages confirmed by characters? Like, I can't seem to remember any numbers. So it's sort
I
of
don't think so.
Implied shrug. I don't know.
I know we're on Joseph's argument, but I'm going to take a shot at Sasha's storyline. Did anybody else feel uncomfortable when Liam Neeson kept talking about shagging women in the wee boy's bedroom?
Yeah.
Like, I was like, I know he's supposed to be like, oh, they're quite close now, but I'm going.
He's one of the lads,
Yeah, just two lads having a chat,
Yeah,
And
just
then-
like a
What
classic
you
bloke
do with
chat
your older son?
between a guy who's like 50 and a kid who's 10. That's like classic bloke chat.
And then I'm assuming that after they had that lovely heartwarming moment where they recreated that scene from the Titanic, that they continued to watch the movie and saw a bunch of people frozen to death and a natural disaster on top of that. Never mind the Kate Winslet scene.
And if that's not love, what
Has
is?
that kid seen the rest of that movie? Like,
But
We'll
yeah,
just
Joseph,
skip the ending.
no,
Yeah,
they're on
He's
the front
showing the good
of
parts.
They Lived Happily Ever After. That was it.
Yes.
Nobody died.
Mm-mm.
but yeah, Joseph, calling for creep me up.
I'll be really creeping up too. I'm not defending the storyline anymore.
The one bit of trivia I found for this is the pond that all his papers fell into and that they had to subsequently jump into was filthy. Like thick pond scum. Like it was just poison. And after they filmed all the shoots splashing around, Colin Firth emerged from the cold water with a mysterious lump on his neck.
Ugh.
And he was fine. But he got a lump for this movie.
I have to say, Joseph, you should really be a lawyer though, because I really felt like I was in court then, as you were saying your case.
As you were
saying, I rest my
bullshitting.
case. It was very passionate.
As Andrew's already said, I'm good at making stuff up.
Full marks.
Yeah. Right, let's go to Love Actually's #1 fan next. Van Ashray, please tell us about it. You've got 2 storylines to tell us about. You have John and Judy, and Sarah and Carl. Take it away.
Okay, so I'll do John and Judy's first. So John and Judy are professional stand-ins for sex scenes on a very high budget movie. We don't know what this movie is, but it looked very interesting. And they essentially go to work every day and they're in awkward sexual positions, reenacting sex, I guess, and just having normal conversations. And it's just about the development of their relationship, and it just ends up in a very happy place for them. They end up getting married. And I personally think this is genuinely the best story there is there, because it is the only relationship that is healthy in the entire movie. It's 2 people who are in an equal place in work. They're equals at work. They don't go in there with aspirations of what love is, this kind of the feelings that they have of obsession with somebody that they never speak to. They don't go in with any of that. They just go in there as friends, and it just evolves naturally, and they just get to know each other. And it doesn't need a big grand gesture like running through an airport or dragging a load of people through Portugal to a restaurant. It doesn't need any of that. You just get together nicely at the doorstep at the end. It's just a nice little storyline that is it's just what a relationship should be, not like the other ones in this. So that's one. Shall we go straight into the second one?
Yep.
Okay. So the second one is Sarah and Carl. So Sarah is a hardworking American lady who I believe works for a design company. That's the gist that I got. And she actually has been in love with her co-worker for quite some time, but she's never come clean about it. So she's always just loved him from afar. And occasionally Sarah gets phone calls from a mystery person, and we don't know who this mystery person is, but it seems like she feels responsible for accepting these calls, and it's something that she needs to do on a regular basis, is talk to this person. So anyway, later on, finally, Carl and Sarah they actually get it on, and they actually head back to Sarah's place. And just before they're about to carry on, Sarah gets a phone call, and we find out that the phone call is actually from her brother, who is mentally ill, and he's in a home at the moment. So this puts a spanner in the works for Sarah and Carl, because Carl just wants to get it on, but Sarah feels like she's responsible for her brother and that she needs to be there for him. And unfortunately, it doesn't work out between them. And at the end, Sarah just ends up without Carl, but she's with her brother and supporting her brother at the end of the story. And I also feel like this is one of the strongest stories, because it's actually coming from a female perspective. It's actually reversed this time, so it's an older woman going for a younger man, which goes against the grain of this film. And it actually shows you that you don't need a man to be happy. Some things, you can choose some things over other things, and her priority was her family, and her priority was her work as well. And do you know what? Carl probably wasn't right for her, so she just didn't fall for anybody. He wasn't right for her. She needs somebody who will understand her and understand that she cares about her brother, and she needs to be there for her brother. So someone else will come along that's right for her. So these are the 2 storylines that I'm defending today, and I rest my case.
Yeah, I shouted at the screen, "It's not about you, Carl. It's not about you." I agree. I agree with what you're saying there, B. One of the best fun facts, actually, before we talk about that storyline, one of the best fun facts that I found comes from the the Laura Linney storyline, which is the Sarah and Carl storyline. So apparently Richard Curtis kept saying that he wanted a Laura Linney type person after many British girls auditioned, until finally the casting director snapped and said, "Oh, for fuck's sake, get Laura Linney then." And he did. So there you go. So yeah, that was one of my favourite fun facts for that. Yeah. So what about everyone else? Are we going to refute what Ree has said? Do we think that they are the best storylines, or do we have anything else to say on the matter?
On the John and Judy storyline, I didn't mind it. I thought it was really funny at times. But I texted you last night and said there was a line that made me and my little brother simultaneously boke, and that came from that storyline. And it was, you put it very lovely, V, about the doorstep and but when Judy said, "All I want for Christmas is you," the second she finished that sentence, me and my wee brother went, because it was bogging.
So unnecessary.
Yeah.
So unnecessary.
But without that line, how would you know what she wanted?
But that's when they come clean, and then it's all out there, and she's just been honest, and
it was all out there.
It was just them getting along.
I do not believe that. I
do believe that. I'm very passionate about this storyline.
She's very passionate about the film.
Yes.
Not so much the film, but the storyline.
I'm just worried. I'm just a bit worried about Martin Freeman, because there's the bit where they're on the bed and she's on top of him. But the only bit of Martin Freeman that's moving is his neck, because he's going like a wee nodding dog. It's a bit worrying, Martin. What are you doing here?
He's just
I'm not sure you've done this before, pal.
That's why you had to keep getting direction from the director. Just massage the breasts now. Creepy ain't a crime, but that's close.
Any sex scene stories to compare notes with, guys?
Yeah, I was wondering that myself, because I've never done anything like that. Was that not a bit far?
I have no frame of reference.
No. Yeah, luckily only stage kiss only for me. So yeah, that's as far as I've gone. So luckily no further. I've not had.
Don't get me wrong, it gave me a laugh, but at the same time I was going, really?
What would have been a better song to say to him on that doorstep? Like, "I'm never going to give you up. I'm not going to lay you down." Like,
but I think he should have gone full naughty older, and just like screamed in his face, "It's Christmas!" Just that on the doorstep.
Well, what was that band we were saying not to talk about earlier? What Wham song would have fit in there really well?
Should be "This Christmas I'm giving you my heart."
Even I'm looking at that.
Hannibal Lecter.
Yeah.
I think as well as what I noticed is Laura Linney must be drinking for the same magic potion as that wee boy, because she looks ageless just now as well. Because I watched Ozark.
They're both vampires.
Not aged a day, man. She looked brilliant. I didn't mind their storyline. It was just a bit sad.
Yeah.
That is the main point against it, isn't it?
Yeah.
This is meant to be an upbeat Christmas film, and your plot line just put a big Debbie Downer on all of us.
No, because she's with her brother.
We've not got to mine yet.
We'll get to yours.
That's what I thought about the entire film. It just jumped. It was like happy, and then funeral, then happy. I can't be with the man I love because I need to be with my brother. It just there was no pacing at all for the film.
And one of my notes was hang up the phone, because it was like, you fancied this guy, you fancied him for ages and ages and ages. Everyone knows it. He knows it. You both want to do this. And yes, it is her brother and it's very important, but he's not going anywhere. And she will see him and she does care about him. It doesn't mean she doesn't. So I'm just like, oh, for fuck's sake, man. All she wants is her phone, for God's sake.
That's the angry ever from
Sasha saying what we're all thinking.
I was just like, come on, man.
Plus the fact, I've never known anybody, if someone's going to do a little dance, that the fact that the guy's coming back to her bit.
I know, that's what I was as well.
Yeah, you're not gonna answer the phone. You'll answer it maybe the first time and then go, right, silent for at least 5 minutes. At least 5.
Come on.
Yeah.
We are making light of this. I would argue the actual relationship that's being portrayed there is the relationship between her and her brother, and the sexy, very well cut man is a mere distraction. That why we can all get behind getting down with a nice bit of strange is a great way to have a nice little bow on the end of your arc. The real love and Christmassy spirit of this is when your potentially violent sibling gives you a nice little hug.
Yeah.
In time for
I will.
And a scarf.
Also, calendars exist. Figure it out, you two. Jesus.
I will say, actually, in that one scene, to actually defend this storyline a little bit myself, the one scene I thought where she goes to visit him the first time in the hospital, and he like goes to slap her. I did like gasp. I was like, oh! I thought his portrayal was really, really, really well done.
Yeah.
She called so well, like it had happened before. Layers.
Right. It wouldn't be Christmas without a surprise present for everybody. So I have been working behind the scenes, and here's my surprise present for everybody. So, Mr. Paul Stirrat, over to you for Merry Tagmas, everybody.
Yeah. I was getting ready to look on a chair. I was like,
Merry Tagmas, everyone. Polly's got 5 presents for everyone here. I hope you're ready. We're going to start off with, of course you know the game. I'm going to give you a film name. I'm going to give you A, B, or C. Which one is the real tagline? Starting off controversially with Die Hard. Is it a Christmas film? Yes? No? Maybe? We'll find out. A. Can a man this hard die? Is it B. An off-duty cop? A team of terrorists? Non-stop yippee-ki-yay action? Or is it C, 40 stories of sheer adventure?
I want it to be A. I really want it to be A, but I know it's not. I want it to be A, but no.
I'm going to say A solely for the fact I hope this is the answer that Paul has in every single question.
Yes.
I'll also say A because of that.
It's a long time.
I've been having trouble keeping, grasp on who's voting what. So I've been watching TikTok. Yeah. So if you put your hand up and put a finger up there every time you get one right, that'll help old Polly keep score.
okay.
I don't like how you said that.
I'll go C.
C.
B for me. B for me.
B.
C.
C. 2 C's. 2 B's. C's. C's all around. It is C. 40 stories of sheer adventure. Next up, we've got Bad Santa. Is it A, he's festively foul? Is it B, lock up your back door, Santa's coming to town? Or is it C, he doesn't care if you're naughty or nice?
Oh, Paul.
I think it's C.
I'm going C as well. It's a close between A and C, but I'm going to go C.
We've got 2 C's.
3
I want it
C's.
to be B, but I think it's C.
E.
No, I want it to be B, but I think it's C.
C. 3 C's.
Yeah.
I'll go A.
I
A.
think I've got A, yeah. Yeah.
2 A's. Greg?
Another C.
C. Those of you who said C, you're correct. It is. He doesn't care if you're naughty or nice. Next up, we've got Four Christmases your favorite Christmas comedy? Is it A, They Just Wanted a Quiet Christmas, but their in-laws have different ideas? Is it B, His father, her mother, his mother, her father, all in one day? Or is it C, Visiting four in-laws on Christmas? Better bring the eggnog.
Oh, they're good.
Oh,
They're good.
oh.
I'll go B.
1B.
What was A again?
They just wanted a quiet Christmas, but their in-laws have different ideas.
I think it's B as well.
2 for B.
Couple of B boys.
I'm going to say B. Yeah.
3 Bs.
I'm starting to think C now.
Me too, though. Yeah, you're right. I want it to be. I think it might be C as well, but no, I'm going to stick with B.
I'm going to stick with B.
C.
I'm being. Oh, do you know what? I'll C since there's so many B's.
C and a few Bs. Greg?
A B again.
A B. It is B. It is
Yes.
Well done. Yes,
Joseph, this is a family show, mate.
Oh, sorry. Sorry. Oh, no.
It's
Oh, wait,
Christmas.
well, it depends.
It was
Next
victory.
up, we've got Jack Frost. Is it A, he is the world's coolest dad, and he's gonna prove it? Is it B, he's got eyes made of coal, but this snowman has got a whole lot of soul?
Oh my
Or is
God.
Or is it C, there's no way this dad's missing Christmas?
Oh, C is so terrible. It must be C.
It has to be C.
I thought it was A, but
I thought it was A, but now I'm stuck.
I'm going
See if it's not B, Paul. That's really, really clever. If it's not B, right. I'm going to go C.
B.
C. B.
A. I'll go A.
A.
I'll go A.
A. Greg?
3 times now. C. Am I invisible in this hat?
No. I'm terrible at keeping track of letters.
All right.
It is A.
Yes!
The A's have it. He is the world's coolest dad. And finally, we have the Santa Claus.
My favourite.
Is it A, he's got the beard, the butt, and the belly, and to save Christmas, Scott Calvin must shake them like a bowl full of jelly?
No. No.
It's a great suggestion, though.
Is it B, Scott Calvin is about to get a whole lot jollier? Or is it C, Scott Calvin must become Santa? No ifs or ands, just one big butt.
Oh, mate, that's really good.
I would like to be put on the record first as C.
I'm going to go A. I'm going to go A. It's long, but I think it might be A.
A. C.
C.
C. Sasha?
B? I can't remember.
B. Scott Calvin's about to get a whole lot jollier?
No, I don't want B.
I
Don't
want
want
B.
C.
I want B.
You want B.
Yeah.
I'm going to
Okay.
say, because it's so ridiculous, A.
A.
Greg?
I believe You. A big C for me and you, Andrew.
The answer is C. Scott Calvin
There we
must
go.
become Santa. No ifs or ands, just one big butt. Congratulations. And how many fingers are we all holding up? Let me have a look here. 3,
Getting
2,
crass.
3.
Nobody
Wow,
won.
it's a
but
big
he
tie.
won.
Just me that lost that one. That's fine.
There we
That's fine.
go.
Sorry. Right, thank you very much, Paul. That was awesome as always. So that's it for part 2. Join us for part 3 when you find out Greg's storyline, my storyline, and most importantly, who the real Stirrat Special is in the 100 team. Stay tuned for more. Welcome back to part 3, where we're talking all about Love Actually and its many storylines. So, it's the one we've all been waiting for. Over to Greg next for Peter, Juliet, and Mark.
Thank you, Craig. My answer, as always, is C. So, already forgotten their names. Andrew Lincoln, Keira Knightley, Chiwetel Ejiofor. There's only one way that I can properly do this, and I'm going to need public domain music to just sort of set the scene. And I'm just gonna go. I'm gonna need someone to say the line.
Oh, it's Carol Singers.
I just wanted to say.
I don't think you need to say about this, Paul.
All right.
That even though
We're a podcast too. We're a podcast.
Yeah,
yeah, sorry, I'm forgetting.
You've married my best friend.
I've spent years slightly silently loving you.
Even when
I kind of
accidentally. You know, Brazilian prostitutes.
Your
Beyonce's stag party.
Stag party.
Oops.
Oops.
And after I permanently deleted him.
from your only wedding video.
Lol, VHS tapes.
And did a really shitty job of hiding it in my massive art studio.
Only to then later turn up at your door.
With some fucking cue cards.
I was just really hoping that this empty gesture
And complete waste of
paper.
Might help me seem super endearing.
Is it working
Working
yet?
yet.
Also, it's kind of Christmas.
On Christmas, you always tell the truth, apparently.
A bit like Jim Carrey in Liar Liar.
He's such a talented actor.
You seen him in The Grinch?
What about
Ace Ventura? You get stuck inside a robot?
Anyway,
Oh,
because it's Christmas, I just thought I'd say.
I'm getting ads.
Because it is Christmas, I just thought I'd say.
In keeping with the holiday spirit,
I'm just putting it out there for all to see.
Lisa,
Question mark, question mark.
Dot, dot, dot.
Dot.
well,
Question mark, question mark. Dot, dot, dot.
Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
Scene. Thank you very much for all our listeners on iTunes and Spotify. For more great visual gags and excellent handwriting, please subscribe to our Facebook and YouTube channel. I also may have launched my phone across the room.
I mean, it's
Well-
probably the most fun argument, but you're not going to get me to say it's the best fucking storyline.
Oh, at no point was I trying to be convincing.
if you took
Greg,
that whole thing that Greg did and put it into the film, it would be a far better storyline than we've got.
Greg, it was great. I'm just really sorry I'm going to have to edit it all out. I mean, that's Oh dear, you give me some fun.
Do it, I dare you. You all read it so well.
There's so much wrong with this storyline, but for me, it's just the biggest point is 2 words, and it's just music choice.
Yep.
You change the music in that scene to the Jaws theme, you get a more accurate depiction of who that guy is.
I mean, if you just like mute the scene where Keira Knightley's watching a wedding video, you get like this beautiful orchestral music, but as soon as you mute it, it's just Andrew Lincoln breathing down the back of her neck.
Yeah, I wrote down. I think Midsummer has ruined me, as people who were on the Midsummer panel knew, because I wrote down that Keira Knightley needs to get out of there pronto, because if there's any other film, he'd be smashing them over the head right now, for sure.
I've got Cape Fear music in my head now, just thinking of that scene.
Yeah.
Do you know Keira Knightley's 18 in that as well?
Holy moly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Only 5 years older. Only 5 years older than the wee boy. He's 13.
Really?
What?
He's 13. Yeah. In real life, he's 13. I told you.
He looks 8. I thought he was way younger.
Yeah. Deal with the devil. Deal with the devil, that man. It's mental.
He's still 13. And this was made in 2003.
Vampire.
I've got as much issue with Keira Knightley's character though. So I'm assuming she's been with Chiwetel Ejiofor for some time, that they're married, and all he has to do is give her a creepy video, whack a cassette on, and show her some cue cards, and she cheats on him. I mean, he's ultimately the big dick, but
it's a one-off platonic kiss, and then at the end you see they're all at the airport together, just hanging out in some kind of like relationship that feels kind
Threeism.
Do you see where I'm going with this? It was the early 2000s. They couldn't explicitly say it.
And
Did
the Brazilian
anyone-
prostitutes. Sorry. The Brazilian prostitutes, did they actually happen? Did he?
Oh,
Was
it's
that
like,
a
it's
joke?
like, I think it's like the first line that Andrew Lincoln has when they're at the
But did he actually get
boys
them?
being boys.
I think so. I think he did.
Yeah.
lads.
He did. They turned out to be men.
See, partly because of that line and everything else. I don't know if anyone else got this, but I thought genuinely, hand on my heart, for most of this, until it was explicitly he put the tape in, I thought he was in love with his best friend, not
That's
Keira
what I thought
Knightley.
as well.
When I first ever seen it, I thought that. I did. I did.
Because I'd seen the cue card scene before, like as like a meme and all that kind of stuff. I knew it was Keira Knightley.
It's so overdone.
He'd never be in love with his best friend in this. It's just straight people.
And white people.
And white people and rich.
Oh no, we had that. There was that brief two ladies kissing for like a second at the very beginning of the credits, and then off we went.
There we go. That's the inclusion box.
That's
There we go.
representation right there.
Kick.
Apparently, there was a lesbian relationship in the film as another storyline, but it got cut. Francis Del Toro. Yeah. There you go. Right.
I think for me, Andrew Lincoln's character, there's 3 points about him that I just made me hate the storyline. A, it's your best mate's fiance. Don't go there. That's sacred ground. Don't go there. B, she just says she doesn't even know him. So why does she love him? Why does he love her? It's clearly very superficial, very physical. There's nothing emotional there. And C, and worst of all, he's smug. And I cannot tolerate the fact he's smug about it. Just want to slap him.
What was the self-preservation thing? Like, he's like, oh, it's a self-preservation thing.
He puts up distance so that he can.
Yeah, he just fancies her and pretends that he doesn't and hates her, and that's why he does it. Right.
Yeah.
Just
But
making
apparently,
sure.
he was supposed to be in a relationship with the lassie that Alan Rickman's a nasty man with. Mia. They were supposed to be together.
Hate her.
I would just like to take this time for my condolences to Greg because, mate, you never stood a chance for that one, and I feel bad for you, mate.
But dear
I
God,
mean, I would argue that I barely even tried. But
Yeah, no, exactly. You peed into
like
that. That was
that's a
good.
fair assessment.
Yeah.
You did the best you could for sure. You tried.
I did. Like I spent like over 2 hours scribbling that.
Yeah, exactly.
Hand cramped. It was.
Right. Okay, we need to move on. So over to me. I've saved me for last because this is the best storyline, obviously. So you've got to save the best for last for sure.
Nepotism.
So I have Karen, Harry, and Mia. That storyline. So Emma Thompson, Alan Rickman, 2 great actors, obviously. Now this story is a story of a married couple with 2 kids, and you can see that I imagine that they have been married for a long time, and you then have Alan Rickman's character Harry, his assistant Mia, then turns his head and they begin an affair. Now, this storyline is the best storyline, very simply, because of Emma Thompson. Emma Thompson puts in a powerhouse of a performance in this storyline. She is by far the best performance in this film. She puts in the best performance scene in this film. And it's very simple. This is a very relatable, unfortunately, a very relatable storyline for a lot of people. And you know it's the best storyline because this is the one that even today in 2020, 17 years later, it's the one that people still talk about and are still upset about. They still feel sorry for Emma Thompson. So the scene I'm talking about is Christmas Day. Now, in the lead up to this, Emma Thompson has expected a gold necklace for various reasons of comedy of error type things. Alan Rickman's character Harry has got a necklace for Mia, and Emma Thompson opens her present on Christmas Day to find a CD, and that's when she realises that her husband is having an affair. Now, Emma Thompson in that scene, you can learn everything you need to know about what she's thinking just from her expression. She holds it together for the kids. She goes up the stairs. She breaks down. Brave face back on. Back down. Carries on with Christmas. Fantastic performance. Absolutely brilliant. And head and shoulders above any other performance in this film. And that is why this is the best storyline. I rest my case. I look forward to your answers.
I would be inclined to agree with you, Craig. If it weren't for the fact that you do not do that to Emma Thompson under this roof.
No.
You do not treat her that way. How dare you do that to Dame Emma Thompson? How dare you? I hate it.
I hate it.
I see your Emma Thompson performance and I raise you Bill Nye. For me, he's the best performance. She, dramatic chops, yes, entirely, but for me, the most memorable character in this is Bill Nye. My issue with your storyline, Craig, is I don't think there's any real resolution. I don't know where we stand with it in the end. I don't know, one, why she would still be with him. Obviously, you're thinking the kids and stuff like that. But to me, I thought if he doesn't give her, like the final scene at the airport, if he doesn't bring her back at least a tiny gift, to me, I'm going, it's left in an ambiguous big, like, where are we? Kiss on the cheek. But to me, yes, Emma Thompson was fantastic in it, but I don't know.
I disagree though. I think the ambiguity is what makes it, because that is what life is like sometimes for a lot of families. There's a lot of families, that's what happens. You go through some kind of turmoil in a relationship and you stick together for the kids. And I imagine they stuck it out for a good maybe 5 years until the kids were in secondary school, and then it was like, go their separate ways then. And that's the kind of thing that I think is quite good about it, in terms of it portrays a kind of real life scenario in a film where a lot of the scenarios are very outlandish. So I see your point, but I disagree.
Like the thing
I
was,
also
like,
see your.
oh no, Paul, on you go.
I was just going to say, I see your Bill Nye, and I raise you one Rowan Atkinson, because the man is in 2 scenes, and he is gold in both of them, particularly when he's with Alan Rickman and he's doing all the gift wrapping. I thought that scene as a little skit was perfect. Perfect timing. He's desperate to leave, and he's just more and more layers to this present wrapping. It was fantastic.
So after all this, are we saying that's the best storyline?
No.
Because he randomly turns up as like a magician at the airport.
Yeah.
Apparently, was
Well,
supposed to be
actually,
like an angel.
I wrote down.
Yes,
that
he's
he
supposed to be an angel.
I was going to say that. I wrote down he's a guardian angel.
Like 2 people. A story of 8. If he's a guardian angel, he's shit at his job.
No, I think he's good. He was trying to stop Alan Rickman, so
He
I
was.
thought he was doing pretty well.
Yeah, and then there was that scene at the end where he dropped an anvil on his head.
I would have
was
worked there.
There was no chemistry between Mia and Alan Rickman. Like it was like, it just, for the first sort of like 4 or 5 encounters of them together, it was workplace sexual harassment, and then he's shagging them. What? What's going on there? That's. I'm so.
Is he shagging them?
Even more
Yes.
sorry for Emma
Yes.
Thompson. You know, it's what happens. You know, it's real life. It's real life. So
On you go.
yeah. So I'm just going to say, I think we need to vote here. I think we need to get going with this vote. So you all get 1 vote each. You cannot vote for yourself, Sasha, and we are going to try and work out what the best storyline of Love Actually is. So we'll start with the top. We'll start with where we started. So Daniel and Sam, hands up if you're voting for Daniel and Sam, Sasha's storyline.
Remind me which actors played those parts again, please.
Liam Neeson, an immortal
Liam
boy.
Neeson, the little guy.
Okay, Liam Neeson, the vampire. Nah.
Okay, moving on to David the Prime Minister and Natalie, Paul's storyline. No, thank you. Okay, good. Billy Mack and Joe for Andrew. I said that at the start, gets my vote. 1, 2, 3, 4. 4.
Right.
Well, there we go. Well, let's see how everyone else does. So maybe just save it for last for the tension. Jamie and Aurelia for Joseph's storyline.
I would like to give you a point for effort, but it's purely from my own store. It has no value.
Van Ashry, John and Judy, Sarah and Carl, either or. Ooh, which one, Andrew?
Both.
Which storyline in particular? Both. Fair enough. And then finally, not finally, me as well. Greg, Peter, Juliet, and Mark. No, sir. Oh, wow.
I feel bad for him, so I'm voting for Greg because he put a lot of effort in.
Hang on. Do you feel bad for me or do you feel bad for characters?
I thought that you felt bad. I was like, me? That's a big U-turn from you. But
No, I just think he put so much effort into it, and I'm going to vote for Greg.
Actually, you already voted. Less of that.
But you did. That was so nice.
every
Look,
time.
I have a whole victory speech.
Can we vote for the guy for the lad that goes to America?
Yeah.
That's the most woke storyline.
I just want to say briefly about that storyline. That storyline is, the hard truth is, that is what most men want. It's disgusting. It's gross. But it's what we're all thinking. We want to go to America. We want to go into a bar. We want to meet 4 random, not prostitutes, just random American girls, and we want to be taken home. We want to have a foursome, 5-some, foursome, and we want to come home and we want to bring one along for our friends, and that is the man dream.
I thought
Merry
Paul was
Christmas,
going to say it was the
everyone.
man dream to go to American bar and order a Budweiser.
This will be Paul's last appearance on the show. We like to thank Paul for his time and his efforts on the 100, but unfortunately, sometimes in life things don't work out. Who knows? So
Long story.
Cancelled.
Finally,
Well, I'll see you in Wisconsin.
finally, over to my storyline for Karen, Harry, and Mia. Any votes for that storyline?
No.
I'm not allowed to vote again, so.
It was worth a shot.
So we have a winner, a clear winner. Andrew, congratulations. Billy Mack and Joe is the winner. Let us know in the comments. Let us know at 100 Film Reviews on Facebook and Twitter. What is your pick as the best storyline? Do you agree with us? Do you agree with Andrew? Or is it someone else? So, very quickly, quick fire round now. Is this film a buy, rent, or refund for everybody? Let's start with Sasha. Buy, rent, or refund?
Bye.
Awesome. Paul?
Rent.
Care to explain your answer, Paul?
Just that I loved parts of this film. I thought it was actually, you know what, I'm talking myself into a buy. I've talked myself into a buy. There we go. I loved it. There was a lot of parts in this film I chuckled at. I liked it.
Matt, sorry.
Bye.
Yeah. Andrew?
I happily put this in my Christmas rotation movies.
Yeah. Joseph?
Refund.
Wonderful. Joseph, tell us why. Tell us why.
I just didn't like the film. I just did not like. There were bits of it were funny, but overall, it didn't land well for me. And the only time I would really watch it is if I was stuck on a plane, and it was the only film playing.
The art of deception strikes again from Joseph, right? Okay, I wasn't expecting that. Vanna 3, what do you think? Buy that refund.
Refund.
Yeah.
I actually watched it for free, but I feel like the director should have paid me to watch it. I feel robbed.
You stole your
I feel
time.
robbed of time.
Right then, possibly a very critical vote here. Greg, what do you think?
Refund, because you can watch it free every year on TV for Christmas. Save yourself like
Always in
£3
the,
or
always in the
however much
spirit
it's
of the
worth.
game, Greg. Always in the spirit of the game, Greg. Thank you. So over to me then. Okay, I'm going to say buy. This is my first buy of the season. I'm going for buy. I was surprised how much I enjoyed it. I mean, to be fair, I wasn't sure halfway through, but the film really stuck the landing. I thought it all tied together. I really enjoyed the ending, as I said, with the taxi, all that stuff, and the stage stuff at the end, the drums, the airport. Loved the ending. I think that's what made it for me. So buy for me. So that means that I believe it's 3 buys and 3 refunds and 1 rent. 4 buys. Paul changed his answer. Paul changed his answer, yeah. So we are a buy for Love Actually. So again, let us know in the comments at 100 Film News, Facebook and Twitter. Buy, rent, or refund Love Actually. Now that the film's out of the way, now for why we're all really here. Okay? So here we go. We have been making fun of, I think, Paul Stirrat mercilessly this season for his lack of film viewing. But has he really deserved it? Let's find out in a game we're calling Will the Real Stirrat Special Please Stand Up? Here we go. I have been looking forward to this all week. I honestly have been looking forward to this all week. I cannot wait. I'm so glad it's finally here. I can't wait to share the results with you. So I asked the panel to go to IMDB, to go to the top 100 list, and to count how many films of that list they have seen. So I'm going to go around the panel. I'm going to ask you to please tell me what you think your order is. What order do you think everyone came in? Number 1 being the person who you think has seen the most films, and number 7 being your pick as the Stirrat Special of the group. I'll start us off because I played along as well. I actually answered this before you guys sent me your results. So I put Vanashri first at number 1. I put myself second. I was pretty confident. I put Joseph third. I put Sasha fourth. I put Greg fifth. Andrew sixth. And of course, Paul seventh. Now remember, guys, no reactions, please. Let's keep it a secret till the very end. So don't give anything away. I'll go to Sasha first again. Sasha, what is your order?
Okay, first person I think I've seen the most is Joseph. Then it was Greg. Then Vanashri. Then Andrew. Then me. Then Craig. And then Paul.
I was insulted when she said that to me. I was rather insulted. So let's move on to Paul.
Well, I said at the start of this, always bet on the house. And that's what I'm doing. Because I put myself at number 1. Big Polly Smack is at number 1, baby.
Hope to God it's
Then, in a distant second place, I have Greg. Then I have V in third. Joseph, fourth. Craig, fifth. Sasha, sixth. And Andrew in seventh.
Oh, wow, guys. All right. Okay. Andrew, you're up next.
I feel proper nervous. I feel as if I'm going to be sacked if I'm at the bottom.
That's what this is a test of. Whoever is at the bottom gets sacked.
I'm proper panicking. Right, I put Joseph first, Greg second, Craig third, Vanashri fourth, Sasha fifth, me sixth, and Paul seventh.
Okay. Thank you very much. Joseph?
Okay. I have put the host, Craig, first, then Greg, then Vanashri, then Sasha, then Andrew, then Paul, and then myself last.
A gentleman.
Okay.
A gentleman.
Okay. A gentleman, yes. A gentleman to the end, for sure. Vanashri, tell us.
I just want to say, don't take this personally. It's just because of the type of films that are in the top 100. Okay.
I love it. I'm going to be last on the list again too.
So I put Greg, Joseph, then me, then Craig, then Sasha, then Andrew, then Paul.
Okay. And Greg?
I want you to take these personally. So I had Joseph first, followed by our charming host Craig, then myself, followed by Andrew in fourth, Sasha fifth, Vanashri sixth, and Paul for seventh.
Oh.
So we're all very, very different. But you know what the best part about all this is? There's one person sitting here who knows full well that everyone else on this panel has severely overestimated them. And I can't wait to reveal who it is. So here we go. Now then, number 1, with 59, a very respectable 59 out of 100 films, is Vanashri.
Ooh.
Not far behind, yes. Not far behind in second place with 57 is Sasha.
Ooh.
Then we jump down to 47. It's me. Okay, I'm quite happy with that. I was pleased with her. Then with 44 at number 4, we have Greg. Now it's getting interesting. Feel the tension, people. Here we go. 40 is the next score. At number 5 is Andrew. Which means either we have been correct about Mr. Paul Stirrat all along, or the master of deception himself has fooled us all into thinking that he is a bona fide cinephile. Has Joseph deceived us all, or is Paul the real Stirrat Special after all? I can reveal that one person scored 30. The other person scored 25. The true Stirrat Special is Joseph Boone.
Did not see that coming. Thank you very much.
Oh my god, I was in
Sorry,
shock.
Paul.
I
Yay!
was in shock when he sent me that number. I was absolutely in shock. I've had to keep that a secret for a week. I'm going to keep that a secret for a week.
So does this mean
I must say, Craig, it's been an absolute joy being on the show. You'll find my P45 in the post tomorrow. And it's been a pleasure meeting you all. So goodbye.
Hey,
does this mean that we now have to rename the Stirrat Special to "You Just Got Booned"?
oh yes.
Oh, there we go. Awesome.
Or something to that effect. We'll workshop it later.
We'll workshop it.
When I was
Okay,
in
ladies, we're at the top.
yeah.
Yay!
Yes, they are. Yes, they are. I'd just like to ask though, Paul, how do you feel? How do you feel at being finally vindicated here?
I feel like justice has been served. I have been trod upon from the very start, and now finally I get a taste of that sweet, sweet vindication in that lovely 6th place. And I couldn't be happier. I'm like one of those contestants on the X Factor that's like up on the chopping block, and I have sung my heart out. And this time Simon's looking at me and he's going,
I like that you were so bitter against us all that you thought the rest of us hadn't seen more than 30 movies. I'm not going to lie, I was in a panic doing the 100 until I hit about 60, and then I got like Spider-Man, Endgame, Infinity War. I was like, yeah, tick, 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 tick.
My thing was there were so many gangster movies on that, and I'm not a gangster movie guy really. So
There's a lot of westerns as well.
Yeah.
There's a lot of anime though. How did Joseph?
That was
The only animated film on there I've seen is Spirited Away. Yeah.
Toy Story 3's on it.
Oh no, I've seen Toy Story 3. I keep forgetting that's an animated film.
Oh
no, does that mean
So
you're
real.
29?
So real. It's so real.
It's so real to me.
Right then, guys, thank you so much for joining me on our Christmas special. It's been a pleasure, an absolute pleasure, as always, to speak to you about these films. Love Actually was a great film to talk about as well. Great choice for our Christmas special. As always, we must finish with a life lesson that we can take. And hey, it's Christmas. There's got to be a genuine one this time, folks. All right, it's got to be a genuine one. So, it's been a tough year. It's been a tough year, everybody. It's been a tough year. But hey, we're almost through it. We're almost on the other side. Just remember, keep looking out, keep looking for it, because I think you might find that love actually is all around. Feel free to book now, Andrew. Feel free to book. That's a wrap on 2020, everybody! It's over. We did it. We did it. Thanks so much, guys. Thanks
For
so
the power
much.
of editing.
I'm off for a nap now. I'm off for a nap. See you on 2021.